but we spend a lot of time at home. And I noticed this past week that my middle son, Kyle, who's 12, his brain is electric right now. It's like things are just snapping in there with questions. And within an hour's period of time, I could be pelted with questions like, how do satellites in the sky work? And you know that optic nerve that connects the eye to the brain? Tell me, Mom. Or how come humans can't lick their own elbows? I wish I knew these answers. I mean, it's my world too. I know these things exist, but I don't have all the answers. It's a little embarrassing for the mom knows all reputation of mine. So I start off with a good old parental tool, and they say, oh, honey, that's a great question. Or my favorite, your dad loves science. Let's wait till dinner time, okay? As an adult, it can be really hard to not have the answers. It made me think of recently hanging out with a group of gals in book club. And they had brought up Silent Spring, a book by Rachel Carson, written 50 years ago this year. And I saw around me heads nodding, oh sure, of course. As this cloud was around us that was kind of making us feel like, well, we should know what the book was about. We knew that it had influenced our world in some way. It had done something important. So everybody nodded their heads, oh, of course, sure, acknowledging the idea of the book. But what I noticed was among these girlfriends of mine, that no one actually said they had read Silent Spring. So I stood up and I said, I, Kristi Marsh, I've spent 3.5 decades and a little bit more on this beautiful planet Earth. I admit, I had not read Silent Spring yet. And from this book, a light started to spread across our nation. It was like a dawning of how we looked at our world, and we were asking more and more questions. Rachel Carson passed 2 years after her book was published of breast cancer. But Silent Spring took on a life of its own and continued on. And when the 1970s occurred, the generation that I was born in, our leaders at the time felt this sensation around us and created the Clean Air Act and the Clean Water Act that both are celebrating their 40th anniversary this year as well. Our leaders were questioning the world around us, looking for these answers. Now, once again, I'm going to have to humbly admit to you that at the time, I did not know that this was going on. My news sources were rather limited to a little green frog who sung about being green, and a little fuzzy guy named the Lorax talking about the trees and things in another way. That we started to realize that not only can our actions as adults, as humans and people affect our environment, but our environment can affect the health of our very own bodies. Now, I thought this was pretty fascinating. This is about the time I'm coming into an adulthood. And about this same time, in 1994, right here in Massachusetts, the Silent Spring Institute was formed, inspired by Rachel Carson and the fact that the rate for breast cancer here in Massachusetts, and especially on the Cape, is higher than many other places in the United States. So here we were. This dawning was moving along until here we are as an adult. It seemed to be high noon, right over us. Now, if you told me that my children's lifetime risk to get any one of those 200-some cancers was going to be 1 in 100, then I would do everything I could within my own influence to reduce their lifetime risk. That's what I would do. But the number is not 1 in 100 to be diagnosed with any type of cancer. The risk for all cancers, for females, for daughters, sisters, nanas, and BFFs and aunties, is 1 in 3. And the risk for all cancers for daddies and papas and sons and juniors in America, in our country, is 1 in 2. I don't know why my friends in my generation don't know this like they know their own social security number. And here's where my quest started. I decided this time around, I wanted a healthier body. I wanted a healthier body for myself, for my children, and my husband, he wanted a healthier body too. He just didn't know it yet. So I decided it's kind of hard sometimes to take on the great big wide world, the ozone or the soil or the water. But what if I just focused right on my own 1 acre? What if I started making changes right here under my own roof? I could do that. And so I went on a quest, and I spent months researching and studying and learning. And you know what I found out? The information already exists. It's out there. It's risen up from institutes and science and academics, and it goes into papers, and the papers come out with this information. And for at some point, some of it may hit the news, and we might hear news flashes going left and right here. But I feel like it doesn't settle down to reach the everyday needs. They mainstream women and moms that need to know. It's not because we don't care. It's not because we're ignorant. It's because we care too much. And we're raising our families. And we're raising our children and taking care of each other. Maybe this tipping point will take us from better living through chemistry to healthy living through understanding. And we can always feign ignorance and keep plundering forward in our mainstream ways. Or we can learn from Kyle. And we can tell ourselves that it is wonderfully okay to ask questions about the world around us. Matter of fact, it is our right to question the products that we bring into our homes. So yes, in a perfect world, we would have all the answers. However, we live in this imperfect world right now, and it is not our job to have all the answers. It is our job to continue questioning the world around us. Thank you.